What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Hand Tight Racing YouTube channel. Davey here. Today we're going to be going through how to determine what part number you need to replace your damper and how to read your spring length and spring rate on BC Racing coilovers. Right here we have a McPherson style shock. This one came off of an S550 Mustang specifically. There's going to be a couple of measurements that correlate directly with the part number in replacing your damper. The first is going to be the body measurement. The second is going to be the shaft measurement up to this point. Bring it in here. Up to this point. The top pin doesn't count, so you have the body length and the shaft length. Those will be your most important measurements when grabbing your replacement damper part number off of one of these. So the first number in your part number is always going to be the body length, and we don't measure the silver cap. So we take this tape measure, go to the bottom. Right there we have right at 11 inches, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but I'll show you how we determine what that means, because we do all millimeters at BC. And now we know that every inch is 25.4 millimeters, so we're going to multiply that by 11, 279. So this is a 280 shock body, so the first part number is going to be 280. Then you're going to make sure that this piston shaft is retracted all the way, especially if you have working with a blown damper, because sometimes they can get stuck in there when they're not pressurized anymore. So we're going to take a measurement from the seal or the top cap to the end of the piston shaft, which is right at 5 1/16, 5 1/16. So how we do that is we go here, we do 1 divided by 16. That gives us this decimal plus the 5 inches, the 5 full inches. So that times 25.4 equals 128. So we got a 130 piston shaft here. So we got a 280, 130. Then your next is going to be the valving code on the bottom here. So we got F1, that means McPherson 1. So that's the valving code. So MF1. We got a 280, 130 MF1. The next measurement is going to be the thickness of this piston shaft right here. I usually like to do this with a micrometer, but all we have is a tape measure right now. So it looks like it's about to rain. It looks like we're right at 7/8 on that. So what we're going to do now is 7 divided by 8, because that's our fraction. We got to go. Mother Nature said nah, started raining outside, so you get a little different background now. You got the dark horse. So where were we? So what I was saying is you do 7 divided by 8. That's your fraction. So that's your almost 1 whole inch, that would be. And then you multiply that by 25.4, which is a full inch, equals 22. So you got a 22 piston shaft right here. That's your third measurement. So we got a 280, 130, MF1, 22, and then your last measurement is going to be this top pin diameter, which typically I also like to use a micrometer on, but we don't have one, so we'll start there. And then it looks like we're at about 9/16. So let's bring our calculator, and we'll do 9 divided by 16 equals that times 25.4 equals 14. So we got an M14. So what that means is we've got a 280, 130, MF1, 22, M14 damper in our hand. So that's the easiest way to determine which shock replacement you need specifically. Valving codes do update, so they're not always going to be the same. We're always making improvements to the valving and stuff like that. But for the most part, this all right here controls how low your car is, or how high your car is, or how much usable stroke it has, or how much body is in the lower mount, and all that good stuff. So that's the easiest way to determine what shock you need. And also, if you need something else out of your suspension, you can, use those measurements and those part numbers to go the next size up or the next size down, depending on what you're trying to do. Now moving on to the spring. Here we have a linear spring. It's straight all the way up and down. Some of them get bigger in the center, but that's still a linear spring as long as it's got only one number here in the front. Not a V barrel, which would have two numbers here in the front. The ones that cone out in the middle are called S barrels. They're typically really short, and the reason that they're made like that is because when you fan them out like that, they tend to gain a little bit more millimeters of usable stroke. So, but here we have a linear one. They're pretty much all the same to read. You're gonna have your inner diameter there in millimeters. So that's like 2.5 inches inner diameter here. 220, that's gonna be your length in millimeters. And then 12 kg, that's gonna be the amount of force that it takes to compress this, the first inch of this spring 1 inch. So that's the easiest way to read these. If you need a spring replacement or you wanna go up, this is the easiest way to determine what you have and what you need. Super easy to read, but they do look confusing if you don't know that they're in millimeters and kilograms. So you'll see this measurement was done on a McPherson style shock. You'll see other shocks, some of you guys like 350Zs, RX8s, RX7s, all that stuff. It's Corvettes, double A-arm. It'll look a little different than this. It'll have a C-clip at the top. That's where you're gonna stop your measurement on the piston shaft at. Some of you guys will have dial adjusters, like the guys with the GTIs in the rear and stuff. It'll have like a cone up here with the dial adjuster inside of it. You'll measure to the bottom of that. You won't ever measure the top pin or that like top piece of the dial adjuster. It'll only be the actual shaft part that's coming out of the shock, protruding out of the shock. That's pretty much gonna wrap up this video. If you guys need any help or anything like that determining which shock you need, you're welcome to reach out to me on Instagram or YouTube comments, and we can get you sorted out. Also reach out to sales@bcracing-na.com. That's sales, S-A-L-E-S, @bcracing-na.com, to get anything you need from us. That's pretty much gonna wrap up this video. Until next time.